Guten Erev Shabbos. Thursday was Chaf Shvat, the yard site of Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka. The Rebbetzin was a very, very private person. In fact, most Chassidim never even saw her. My wife and I had the schus one time to see her in a car leaving 770 after Shabbos. And nonetheless, there are many stories that are told about the Rebbetzin and give us an insight into the remarkable person that she was. One story I heard from Rabbi Ber Levin, the chief librarian of the Rebbe's library. In 1982, the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin on Shabbos would move into the library, which was adjacent to 770. They actually slept in a room where there were bookshelves with svarim around the perimeter of the room. The library staff determined that this wasn't appropriate for the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin. So one Sunday morning, they brought a crew in, they fixed over the room, they removed the svarim to another location in the library and turned it into a regular bedroom. Friday afternoon before Lichbenchen, Rabbi Levin is in his home, and Rabbi Shamshi Yunik, who helped the Rebbetzin set up the room, comes running to Rabbi Levin. The Rebbetzin wants to speak to you. Rabbi Levin comes running across the street, and the Rebbetzin says to him, "Why did you spend money fixing over the room for my husband and myself? We were totally comfortable with what we had." Rabbi Levin even had to write a letter of apology to the Rebbe, explaining that he didn't do it only because for the sake of the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin. He did it because it was uncomfortable for the librarians not to have access to the room over Shabbos. That pacified the Rebbe. From here we learned two things. First of all, the Rebbe and the Rebbes didn't care about having a beautiful room or in general about their physical and material needs. Number two, we learned the importance of ensuring that communal money goes for very, very specific things for communal needs. The second story I heard from Rabbi Shlomo Bistritsky. He was learning in yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael in 1987, and it was announced that after the famous court case over the Rebbe's library, the Svarim would be returning to 770 on Beis Kislev, on a Monday, Beis Kislev. Rabbi Bistritsky and his friend, without asking permission from the Hanhal of the yeshiva, decided to fly into New York for that very, very special event. He comes into his house. His father, Rabbi Leibel Bistritsky, was disappointed that he didn't ask permission and he's wasting time to come to New York, and he sort of gave him a cold shoulder. That Friday night, Rabbi Shlomo Bistritsky comes home from 770 davening, and his father greets him with a smile and he gives him a big hug. So he asks his father what happened. He was so warm to him. He says, well, his custom was, Rabbi Leibel Bistritsky's custom was, every Friday night he would go visit the Rebbetzin to check on her health. He had mentioned to the Rebbetzin that his son, he was disappointed with his son who had come in without permission and was wasting this time being in New York during this period of time. So the Rebbetzin says to him, Rebbe Leibel, let me ask you a question. What do Bachram and other yeshivas, when they're mischievous, what do they do? Sometimes they go to the movies, they do other inappropriate things. Your son, when he's mischievous, when he wants to do something that you consider inappropriate, what does he do? He comes running to the Rebbe. Take it easy on him. So Rebbe Leibel, hearing this from the Rebbetzin, came home and gave his son a hug. The Rebbetzin was communicating the importance of being positive. Yeshiva now, we started a campaign called Here to Stay safe, here to stay proud, here to stay together. I want to add, here to stay with positivity. It's only with positivity that we can be successful to ensure that we'll be here to stay until the times of Mashiach. May we merit it immediately. Have a wonderful Shabbos.